Yeah, so you are once again welcome to today's lecture. Okay, and as we mentioned, our main content is to look at statistical concepts, matrices, Laplace transforms, and differential equations. Today we are looking at statistical concepts. Okay, and I believe we all have an idea of what statistics is about. Okay, at least some idea will come to mind. You have some idea about data, you have some ideas about information, okay, the various type of data and how they are obtained, okay, and what we use information and data for, okay. We want to look at it from a mathematical point of view and try to understand the concept of statistics itself, okay, from the very beginning or from even the generation of the data to analyzing the data, okay, within the next 5 or so weeks, okay, in class. Now, these are our objectives for today: to examine the concept of statistics, look at presentations of data, and explain the purpose of measures of location, variability, and skewness, okay. Then in the next class, we'll begin with the concept of probability, all the way down. Yeah, so when we talk about statistics, what is it? Statistics is basically the science of collecting data, okay, organizing the data, presenting it, analyzing and interpreting such data to assist in what? Effective decision making. Okay, so there is a lot of data around us, even today. As I asked you to pick attendance, attendance is data. Okay, so we have so much data around us if we have to collect them. So an example of a typical variable which we can be looking at is age, or we can be looking at gender. Okay, so we can look at gender, we can look at age, we can look at height, we can look at weight. uh, and by the time we are done looking at all these characteristics or these variables of persons within this class, you realize that we have such huge data. Okay, so we are saying that how do we collect the data? And statistics helps us to what? Helps us to what? To collect our data. Okay, it gives us a means of various ways or various techniques which we use in what we employ in collecting our data. Okay, so for some questionnaires, you realize that we make use of, sorry, for some variables, okay, we make use of questionnaires. So for example, if I want to take data from you, I'll come with a questionnaire. I'll ask you first for your gender, okay, and then I'll give you options of male, female, okay, where you respond by taking in any of the responses, okay. So your final research, you'll be doing some of these things. Good. Then following that, I may give you a question on age. Then I provide options, okay. At the end of the day, this information you have given to me, okay, I'll have to extract it from the questionnaire. You see, the questionnaire is a data collection tool. Eh? So after I have taken the data from you, the next thing is to extract this information from the questionnaire. Okay. And one of the ways of doing that is to, first of all, put them in tabular forms. So I can start with my respondents, then I have gender here. Okay, I'll have some columns. So respondent number one, respondent number two. Okay, then I have gender, I have age, then I'll have your probably your height, your weight, and all that. So the information you give to me, if the first person gives me is a female, then that means gender will be female. If the second person is male, I'll have gender is what? Sorry, is what? Is male. Okay, the same way the person's age is if the person is maybe 16 years, then we type 16. Okay, good. And then if the male is 18 years, we have 18. Okay, so you realize that once we begin to extract this data and organize it, we begin to have what we call as a data set. Okay, so in the organization stage, we generate what we refer to as data sets, and they can be very huge. It can be large data. Okay, good. Now, after constructing these huge volumes of data or these data sets, or what do you call as spreadsheets, okay, what do we do with such data? We can have volumes and volumes of this, okay, but what do we make with such data? Okay, that is where we come to what we refer to as a presentation stage. Okay, so at the presentation stage, what we are interested in is to make use of graphs. Okay, we can make use of graphs and other means, okay, of communicating the data we obtained from these people. So a typical example would be to plot maybe a bar chart indicating, okay, the percentages of males compared to females who responded to your questionnaire. So we can have a bar chart like this, okay, where those in blue, let me shade that. So those with blue shadings are males, okay, and then green shading, we have females here. And on the x-axis, please put off your videos. So on the x-axis, yeah, so we can have a graph like this, okay, where we have male and female are being represented. And clearly, once you see such a graph, the first information it communicates to you is females are more than males, okay, within the data set you collected, okay. So presentations, sometimes we will use other charts like line plot, pie charts, okay. We can have a pie chart where of the same data, okay, where a bigger sector of your circle will be representative of females, okay, within the population. Good. Then what next? After presenting such information, okay, or communicating the results of your data to people via the means of graphs, okay, suitable graphs, okay, there will also be a need for you to move a step further to conduct what we refer to as analysis, okay. Sometimes we want to be sure within a margin, okay, of confidence or error, whether the data we are having says something about something, right? So, for example, if drug has been administered to males and females, we want to find out whether this drug is more effective for males than for females. You understand? In such a case, when we just present um, the pie charts and the bar graphs and the line charts and all those things, it really doesn't communicate to us, and I mean, doesn't give us a means for decision taking. Okay, hence there is a need for us to go further and conduct what we call as analysis after presentation. We have to conduct analysis. And analysis we mean by comparing, we have so many tools which are used in analysis, okay. So for example, if we're looking at the test of one mean, we have the t-test. If you are looking at the test of two means, we have the independent t-test or the pair t-test. If we are looking at test on two or more means, we can also use analysis of variance ANOVA. Okay, if there are various combination of factors, we can have factor analysis. If we want to predict into the future, okay, given two data sets. So for example, you are looking at the cement type, okay, or the brand of cement with the strength of concrete. You want to predict the strength of concrete with your variables being what? The type of cement. Okay, good. In that case, we are running a regression kind of analysis, trying to predict, okay, and also to forecast, right? Presentation of just graphs will not help you to run those predictions or to establish relationship among variables. But when we go to analysis, then we are able to establish that link among variables that, oh, okay, this is related to this variable is related to this, or the type of cement can determine the strength of the concrete, okay, or the outcome of the plastering, okay. That is what analysis gives to us. Then after that, we have to interpret the results or the findings from analysis, okay, for decision making. So if brand A, let's say Diamond Cement, okay, gives us the best concrete strength, okay, then what do we do? Probably it is very good with its tensile strength, but other properties of the cement may not be very effective. So what do we do from our analysis? Then we can say that, okay, since it gives us the optimal strength, okay, optimal tensile strength, then we can prefer to use it for this particular type of work in building or in construction. You understand? Good. And you can only make that decision after you have run your analysis and then you interpret the findings from analysis. Good. So that is what statistics is about. It's a science of one, collecting data, two, organizing the data, three, making presentations or presenting the data, analysis, and interpreting the data to assist in what? Effective decision making. Good. Now, there are two main branches of statistics. The first branch is descriptive statistics. Okay, and descriptive covers the first three steps in the definition for what? Statistics, which is data collection, data organizing or organization, and then data presentation, presenting the results in an informative way using graphs. Okay, good. Then we have the second stage of statistics, which is inferential statistics. So we have descriptive and inferential. Inferential, on the other hand, looks at the analysis. And that is a part which we usually don't do much, okay? But it's very relevant to decision making. So inferential statistics looks at analysis and interpreting what? The findings, okay, from our data to make effective what? Decisions. Good. Now moving on, we are looking at types of data. Okay, and when we talk about types of data, there are different types of data. So when I ask you for your age, you give me a figure. Okay, when I ask you for your gender, you will not give me a figure, you rather give me a word or a description, male, female. Okay, that is also data. The same way your age is data, your gender is also data, okay, which can be used in analysis or communications. Good. Now, what we are saying is there are different types of data, but first, let's understand how data comes about. The first thing we need to talk about is what we refer to as a variable, okay? So the variable is that quality or that criterion or that characteristic which a researcher wants to investigate. Okay, so a variable, as you see on the slide, is a characteristic which changes from one object to the other. So what I mean is, if I come to, let's say, Freeman, and I assign the questionnaire, and question one is gender. Okay, he's supposed to take. Once he takes, he will take male. Okay, but on the other hand, when Candy is taking this questionnaire, she's going to take female. You understand? So the answers you are giving to the criterion or the characteristic I'm interested in will be different. I am interested in your gender, which is the variable, okay? But the data you assigned to that particular variable will be different depending on the person answering the question, okay? That is why we say it's a characteristic whose value changes from what one person to the other or one object to the other. Good. Now, that is the second point. It takes different values depending on who is responding or what is being measured. Okay. The answers you are providing also have a technical name. We refer to it as variates. Okay. We call them variates. Okay. So when you provide a particular answer, we say it's a variate. Okay. What you refer to as data, but it's a variate. Good. Now we have an example here which gives us, okay, or which helps us differentiate the types of data we can have. Okay, and the variables here are gender, price of shoe. So I'm interested in somebody's gender. I'm interested in the price of shoe of the individual. I'm interested in the nationality. I'm interested in the number of children the person has, the weights in kilograms, and then the rank of such an individual. Okay. Now, when we go to gender, we can have male or female. Okay. Then we also have price of shoe. Price of shoe is either 300 CD, 250 CD, 270 CD, and so on and so forth. Okay. Nationality is either you are Ghanaian, Chinese, Nigerian, Congolese, Burkinabe, so on and so forth. Number of children, you can either have 4, 2, 5, etc., or 0. Weight in kilograms, okay? When we measure our weight, we all see some decimal places. It's always a numerical value. Then rank will also be non-numeric, okay? It's going to be in words, not figures. You understand? So on the face view of this table, you realize that some data, okay, are numeric, are figures, okay, whilst other data sets like Ghanaian, Chinese, Nigerian, sergeants are non-numeric. Okay, good. Now, the reason why we have different type of data is because the variables themselves are different. Okay, so we have numeric or quantitative variables like price of shoe, number of children, weight of people. Okay, they are quantitative variables. So they demand figures as answers. Okay, so you get quantitative data for quantitative variables. Whilst for non-quantitative, okay, or what we call as qualitative, qualitative variables, you get quality words or descriptions as the data given. Okay, so in summary, we can have this flow chart which will illustrate what we are talking about. Okay, so variables can be what? Quantitative or what? Or qualitative. Okay, variables can be quantitative or qualitative. This is what we are talking about. So it can be quantitative. Okay, examples of quantitative are our number of children, weight, number of cars, etc., price of shoe. Okay, whilst qualitative will be your nationality, your gender, your color, your rank, and so on and so forth. Good. Now let's take a second view at what we had, the data we had earlier, because there are also two classifications. Okay, good. When it comes to quantitative and qualitative data. So let's go back and then look at those differences too. So when we come here, you will notice that For quantitative data, let's look at them. This is quantitative, which is price of shoe. This is quantitative, which is, let me change mine. This is quantitative, which is number of children. This is quantitative, which is weight. Okay. Now you can identify some differences. Let's take number of children and weight. There's a clear difference here. Whilst weight can be recorded in decimal places, okay, depending on the instrument which is used in measuring it. If the instrument is in 1 decimal place, then we can measure to 1 decimal place. Okay. On the other hand, when it comes to number of children, it's counting. We count. So it's 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Right? You can't have 2.5 children. You understand? So those are counting numbers. Whereas the quantitative variables which are measured are usually measured to the nearest whole place of the instrument, the device being employed for the measurement. Okay, good. So first, number of children is a counting, okay, quantitative variable, or what we call as discrete quantitative variable. And then weight is a what? A continuous quantitative variable. Okay, good. Because weight is measured and the number of children is what? Counted. So these are the two kinds of quantitative variables we can have. Okay, now let's go to the qualitative variables too. So when we get to the qualitative variables, we also identify some differences. So an example is nationality and rank. Okay, when you look at it carefully, you'll realize that in nationality, or let's say even gender and rank, gender, a person is male or female. Okay, good. But when it comes to rank, there are clear levels. Okay, we move from one level, which is private, to I think corporal, to sergeant. So there is an order. In ranking, there is ordering. There is an order. You order from one level to the other. You have to meet some criteria to move. Okay. By gender, you don't meet any criteria. You're either born male or female. You understand? So it's a natural thing. Your nationality, you're either born Ghanaian, Chinese, or Nigerian. It's a natural thing. Okay, good. So that is the differences between what we call as the no order qualitative variables and then the order qualitative variables. So for the no order, we call them nominal qualitative variables. So gender and nationality are nominal qualitative variables, whilst rank is a what? An ordinal. Ordinal means there is order. Okay, there is an order, okay, in the ranking. Go. So let's look at the summaries using the charts. Let me quickly add. You see, so the data we have here is extracted from a questionnaire. So we've collected the data and then we have organized it. So you see it's in a table form. This is an organized data, right? Now we are going to summarize everything using a graph. Okay, so in the graphical representation, what we are doing is we are presenting the kinds of what? Variables. Do you understand? These are the differences between what? Collection, organizing, and then presentation. Okay, so this is a means of trying to present an information, okay, yeah, out of the data we have. So we can see that it's been well classified. Variables, we have quantitative, we have qualitative. Then in quantitative, we have variables like weight, height, okay, which are continuous quantitative variables. And then we have number of children, number of cars, okay, as discrete quantitative variables. Then when we go to the qualitative, which is this side, we have those with no order, like gender. like nationality, okay, they are nominal. And then when it comes to qualitative, those with order, we say they are ordinal qualitative variable. They are ranks, grades, okay, your grades. So A, B, C, D, E, F, right? They are all under what? Ordinal qualitative variable, okay? And there are differences also in the ordinal, but we will not touch on that, okay? We have what we call as, level and then rank ordinal, but we're not going to touch on that for now. Now, let me open the floor. If you have any question, you can ask. So now that we know the types of data and how data results, okay, we also want to look at how to